Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all and welcome to the Elevating Blood Donation Education with Virtual Patients webinar, sponsored by Your Body Interact and America's Blood Centers. So during today's webinar, we'll be covering collaborative efforts between Body Interact, America's Blood Centers, and HOSA-Future health professionals. And we're going to deep dive into Body Interact scenarios, and we're going to all understand why blood donation is so important for all of us here. Now, before we begin, my name is Bhavesh Mande, and I'm your HOSA-Future health professionals Eastern Region Vice President. And I'm so glad to see all of you taking the time to learn more about this great opportunity for all of us. Now, we're joined by three stellar presenters and three individuals who are great advocates of HOSA, healthcare, and everything they all stand for. First off, we have Miss Rita Flores, the marketing manager for Body Interact. Rita has been spending the last 5 years writing and sharing inspiring international stories to understand how they are shaping the present and future of healthcare education. As the marketing manager of Body Interact, she has also been able to collaborate with many wonderful professionals and healthcare professionals from around many countries around the world. And she organizes workshops and competitors all around student organizations, including HOSA-Future health professionals. Now, we're also joined by Jeff Goringer, who brings over 15 years of government and nonprofit experience to his role at America's Blood Centers, where he serves as the Director of Strategic Communications and National Partnerships. His background includes work in the United States Senate as a Communications Director and Strategic Advisor for the House Committee on Rules. Originally from New York, Jeff holds a bachelor's degree in communications and journalism from St. John Fisher University in Rochester. And finally, we have Sir Kevin Shipley, serving as the Associate Vice President of Community Engagement for the Gulf Coast Regional Blood Center in Houston, Texas. He's always been passionate about community service. In 2005, he joined the Gulf Coast Regional Blood Center to make sure the 1,000 patients who require blood every day have it available readily. Mr. Shipley leads the marketing, recruitment, and customer experience teams responsible for the blood supply at over 170 healthcare institutions across the Gulf Coast region. So please thank me in welcoming these amazing presenters. We can't wait to hear about everything they have to share with us.
I can kick things off next. Thanks so much, Bhavesh. And we're so excited to bring together two of our great national partners with HOSA and Body Interact and show today, as Bhavesh spoke about, how we can all work together to advance blood donation and education in some really innovative ways. So I'll start just by reminding everyone who America's Blood Centers is. If you're new to working with us or your local community blood center, we are the trade association that brings together all the independent blood centers around the country. Our members operate more than 700 facilities all over the country, and we're in more than 1,100 communities. And so chances are you have a community blood center, a member of ABC, right in your backyard who is looking to work with you to advance the cause of blood donation and blood donation education. I want to start first by speaking to why blood donation is so important. And the first thing we always talk about is the fact that, blood donation cannot be made in a lab. It can't be manufactured. So our blood supply depends on voluntary blood donors who are willing to roll up their sleeves and help people in their community. Donating blood helps support their local community and those in need for a whole host of medical conditions. So that includes not just emergencies and trauma situations, but also things like surgeries, patients with blood disorders, including things like sickle cell, where they're frequently transfused and rely on a diverse and strong blood supply on a regular basis. And it's so important that we're joined together doing this work because our challenges today in the blood donor space are great. Donors age 65 and older are on the rise. They've increased 40% in 2021, which highlights the importance of diversifying our blood supply, getting those younger donors to donate blood, because as these donors age out from donating, as they start to take medications and become ineligible, we need to make sure there's that next generation behind them who are ready to fill in the gaps, already donating, to make sure that there's a steady supply of blood in communities all over the country. And the COVID pandemic really did decrease the amount of younger people who are donating blood. Because as schools closed, as workplace drives closed, donating blood at a blood drive became harder for many people, primarily students who then weren't able to as easily donate blood at like a school-based drive, which is why working with HOSA is so important to bring those donors back and get those young people donating at a time when more and more people didn't see their parents donate blood, right? So it's new for people. And so the ability to bring them into the regular donation space is important. We also really need to increase the amount of minority donors who regularly donate blood. As I mentioned, if you're like a sickle cell patient and you're frequently transfused, it's actually not enough just to match to your blood type. You have to match beyond that to your ethnic background. And we did see a 35% decrease in minority donors in 2021 as a result of the COVID pandemic and some other underlying challenges. And so that's why it's so important that we work with groups like HOSA and Body Interact to raise awareness and educate students about the importance of blood donation and how easy it is to save lives in their community. We have many, many resources for you all to utilize. I want to highlight one page in particular, and that's americasblood.org/HOSA. That is really the portal where if you're a HOSA State Association leader, a chapter leader, a student, and you're looking to find our education materials called Vein to Vein, if you're looking to track a blood drive, find out more information about this partnership, that's going to be your portal to download key information. So americasblood.org/HOSA. We were thrilled to be the exclusive national partner with HOSA. We're now in that second academic year. We are really hoping to engage with younger donors, engage with students, and increase that donor diversity that I talked about before, to work with HOSA members in their community, connect them with local community blood centers, and get them hosting blood drives in their schools all across their community, and help bolster the blood supply. As part of our exclusive national partnership, what we're doing is tracking those blood drives that HOSA students hold with community blood centers throughout the academic year. So we're encouraging all of you to visit americasblood.org, use the donor locator tool, use the HOSA portal on our website, find your local community blood center, contact them, work to host a drive, and it's incredibly easy to then get that donor information when a drive concludes. You can see how many donors your drive brought in, and then you track that through our donor portal. And we're able to track that throughout the year. And we encourage our community blood center partners to work with state association leaders at the state association meetings to recognize high performing chapters as a way to engage with students. And then we at the ABC national level will highlight the highest performing state associations at the ILC. And so we're incredibly proud of what we've done. I mean, we've saved tens of thousands of lives as part of this partnership. We saw a 40% increase between year one and year two with the amount of donors that we brought in the door. And so we're really excited to use this opportunity with all of you to answer any questions, get you connected if you're not yet working with your community blood center, and continue to build on the success that we're seeing. And as part of bringing new opportunities to the table, we also have an exciting national partnership with Body Interact. Body Interact is a real national leader when it comes to developing virtual learning scenarios that really highlight the importance of blood donation nationwide. And so we worked with them to update our education program. It's called Vein to Vein. You can find it on our website. It's a great resource that highlights why we need a diverse blood supply. There's great engagement opportunities for students. As part of those learning opportunities, we've worked together to craft virtual patient scenarios that highlight the life-saving importance of blood donation. So you'll have an opportunity to show students how to save lives and how things like blood and trauma impact um, saving lives through blood donation, pre-hospital blood use, a diverse blood supply, all those different things. And the goal with these virtual patient scenarios that you're going to hear more about today is to help show the many instances in which a blood donation can save a life and really bring education, virtual learning experiences into the classroom. And you can also highlight it at your state association meetings. We highlighted it, as you're going to hear today, at the ILC this year, and it was incredible opportunities to bring to life all the various education opportunities, all the facts and statistics that you're hearing about. Really got students engaged in a new way. And so I'm going to turn it over to Kevin Shipley, who is with our Gulf Coast Regional Blood Center, who's going to speak to some of the specific efforts that have been happening with our members, with HOSA, and with Body Interact to inspire all of you to utilize these great new partners as you continue our work together. Kevin, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you, Jeff. Hi, guys. Kevin Shipley. I should say howdy, y'all, coming from Texas. Guys, couldn't be more excited to chat with y'all today. And I want to kind of frame a little bit of our experience and my experience with, I did not want to work for a blood center when I grew up. What's worse is I didn't even know this was a career I could have. And I really hope through this partnership we can change some of that and see that there's so much that we can do together, and that this is a very important and noble career that you can choose as a part of a health profession. I wasn't a member of HOSA in high school, and I regret that. As I've kind of grown in my career and gotten to partner more and more with HOSA, I look at all the opportunities that are created and the different experiences that are had, and I wish that had been part of my path, and maybe I would have known about this as a career path. Guys, starting at the Gulf Coast Regional Blood Center many years ago, our mission statement hasn't changed. It starts with to partner with the community to save and sustain lives. And that partnership's a very key and important part of what we do. But a partnership is not just about going out in the community and asking people to roll up their sleeve and give blood. A partnership requires that we go both directions, or that we give back to the people that we partner with. And there's been a really fun niche that we found with HOSA, and that there's a lot of things that we have parallels that we do. And through ABC over the years, we keep amplifying that impact through the different opportunities that are presented. Here at Gulf Coast, we've had just incredible opportunity through all the different regions that we work with and at the state associations to go and participate in different leadership initiatives and go in and offer educational speaking opportunities that will come into the different leadership events, and then under regional competitions and state competitions. And most recently, like Jeff mentioned, the ILC was located here in Houston just this past summer. And we had an amazing opportunity to go in there and both teach some sessions and host a blood drive to give people opportunities to roll up their sleeves and save lives. And that give back is just a core part of what we do at this point. ABC has amplified that effort to add the vein to vein programs and adding concrete things that help do what y'all are already doing and add some color to industry experts to your educational journey. And this most recently this year with Body Interact, we have just could not have been more excited working with Body Interact to build out these opportunities to have patient scenarios that are very applicable to what you guys are studying. Just a few weeks ago, and again next week, we host high school workshops every fall. We partner with a museum here in Houston called the Health Museum, where we bring high school students in from around the region, and HOSA students are very, very popular at these events. They like to come, they like to see the museum, but we also like to show some of the educational gives backs. So we'll teach about blood types and compatibility. We'll teach about the different body systems. But one of the cool parts this year is we got to roll out a little bit more about Body Interact and the opportunity to see real world scenarios that relate to both what we do as a blood banking industry, but what you guys do through healthcare careers. And we've had rave reviews about people being so interested and being able to provide them the link to get some more opportunities to work with this awesome tool with Body Interact. I cannot impress upon all you guys enough that if you're not doing it already, to reach out to your local community blood center to host blood drives. I'll say that we make it easy, but we make it fun. Reach out to us no matter where you are through all the links that Jeff was mentioning earlier, and realize that a blood drive is not just a community engagement portion of it. We are truly a community partner. Yes, you're going to give back and help save lives in a concrete way, but you're also going to find awesome opportunities to build a network of people that want to see you guys succeed, not just today, not just tomorrow, but years into the future, and ultimately maybe find a career in just a great, rewarding industry such as blood banking. With that, I want to pass it off to Rita to talk a little bit more about the really awesome tool of Body Interact.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Rita, part of the Body Interact team. And while I speak to you, I brought some pictures of real interactions within the Body Interact at HOSA conferences and meetings. Unfortunately, I don't have it from the HOSA LC because I was having the cutest little baby you can imagine, which is my baby, of course. So I don't have pictures from that, but I heard the great feedback. So let me just share with you these pictures. So you can also have a visual idea of what is Body Interact. So Body Interact is a virtual patient simulator, and Jeff and Kevin have been describing this in a very great way, and I do appreciate because I know that they know the platform from head to toe, so they know how it works. And the Body Interact has been in the market in the healthcare education field for about 15 years, 16 in January. But recently we discovered that also the high school students back in the United States, because we are mostly based in Portugal, in Europe, you also have these health careers, these health pathways that Body Interact could also make a difference, could also help. So once we start going to the HOSA LC, we start seeing the amazing and incredible impact that you guys have back at your HOSA chapters. And I was completely inspired by everything that you were doing. Like, you were preparing the future healthcare professionals in such a immersive way, a practical way, and at the same time, as Kevin just mentioned, you were having fun while doing this. So when we go to this whole OSILC and got the chance to meet the American Blood Center, we understand that the mission of all of us were totally aligned. So for sure, there was a way for us to doing it together. And of course, Body Interact was already being used in this great table, in computers, in smartphones, iPads, and also Chromebooks. But the content is what is most important. We have a lot of research that says the impact that it has on critical thinking, decision-making skills, clinical judgment, if we are talking about more in the nursing perspective. And of course, we were already having scenarios for sports medicine, a certified nursing assistant, but why not align this with such an important thing as blood donation? And Jeff already mentioned how important this is. We all know why it is important and how we can contribute to this. But at the end of the day, what we decided to do is turn this importance into a fun moment, into something that they would not only retain the knowledge, but retain in a more improved way. So they understand why I do, what is the impact of the blood donation? Why should I do it? What are the actions that I need to do? So it was something for us, it was really important and surprising to see how virtual patient could also impact this way of saving lives. So these were some of the examples that we have of experience where people were using the Body Interact, either in the classroom, in the HOSA chapter meeting, in a conference such as the state conferences or the HOSA ILC, and you also can do competitions. Make it into a more attractive session. Try to see who got the best global score. But then at the end of the day, we are turning knowledge into real decisions and real actions that actually will impact the student's decision. So this program that we built together with the American Blood Center actually came to life and help us understand the impact that it has not only on the clinical reasoning and decision making, and also of course in the knowledge part, but also to make sure we were building self-confident people, that we were enhancing the teamwork. And Kevin just mentioned, help them understand their future careers. We actually built a very recent and very interesting blog article on this. So how can virtual patients actually help people to say, I want to do this in my life, or actually the opposite. This is totally not the way I want to go, because this is really important for the students. So these were some of the few takeaways that we have been collecting for the past 15 years at Body Interact. And I'm pretty sure this could be a great complement to your classes, to your chapter meetings. And we are totally available to let you test these scenarios that we have and build together with ABC. So if you wish to know more, just let Has know Body Interact, ABC know. We work together, so the ones that are easier to contact for you, the ones you should go into. And let me just say to something lastly to you on my side. We usually say that virtual patients are the future of healthcare education, but I must say that sentence is totally wrong, because it's not the future, it's the present. So we have this case ready to go. You don't need to take so much of your time to prepare fun activities for your students. So this is ready. You can take it, you can call your community, you can even call your students' parents and educators, because they can see how they are making decisions as future healthcare professionals. So I think this is something that I wanted to share with you. And I believe that that's all on my side for now. So I'll give back the word to the HOSA team or to the ABC.
Thanks so much. And I will echo your points. The great thing about Body Interact, we've come such a long way from, just standing up before students with a PowerPoint that's static and, giving them facts and information. The great thing about this platform is that you can show them through these virtual patient scenarios, and you don't need any kind of really fancy equipment. You don't need to buy a big screen like was in the first image. Those are great if you got them. You can use these scenarios on a computer. You can use them on an iPad. They have an iPhone app. I mean, it's so easy to work with an ABC member. And the great thing about HOSA being members with ABC is that ABC members have exclusive access for the next 5 years to these scenarios. And so only our members can come to your HOSA chapter meetings, can come to your state association meetings, can work with you in a bunch of different ways to utilize these scenarios. So that's a benefit that you're getting, because the three of us, along with our members, work together so well. So that's why we were wanting to bring all of us together to see the connection points that are there between organizations and partners that work closely together. And if you're thinking about, when to engage on something like this, when to really highlight this for students, or to think about ways you can bring this into the classroom, January is National Blood Donor Month. That's probably the biggest month where the blood community comes together every year to thank the voluntary blood donors that choose to roll up their sleeves and save lives. It's meant to recognize all those people who donate blood throughout the year. We have made it easier than ever this year to learn more about the month, to download free tools to utilize during the month to thank donors in your community. You can go to blooddonormonth.org, blooddonormonth.org, and access all kinds of complimentary downloadable resources. So if you're looking to highlight the month in your newsletter, there's newsletter drop-ins that you can have with background about the month. If you're looking to download social media, we have a ton of free social media graphics, both highlighting the statistics, but then also highlighting real donor and recipient stories with the text ready to go. So you can highlight all the different types of patients who get their lives saved by blood donors. every year. There's videos, there's more information about the impact the donors have. You can even write your members of Congress if you wanted to encourage them to make blood donation a national priority. We've got some key ways for them to do that. You can also customize the message as well. So I would encourage you all to um, look at this website, make a plan now for January. I know we're sitting at the end of October. It seems like right around the corner, but of course, with holidays and the year going by so quickly, it'll be here before you know it. So I just want to encourage everybody to reach out if you're a member of HOSA. Um, Reach out to your state association leaders, to your chapter leaders. If you're a chapter leader or a state association leader, please reach out to your community blood center and just kind of develop a plan about how can you use January's National Blood Donor Month as a way to work more closely with your community blood centers, utilize these scenarios, capitalize on Blood Donor Month, and really complete that circle between the importance of blood donation, highlighting how it can save lives, and then thanking donors that regularly get engaged. So it's a unique opportunity that's right around the corner. We want to get y'all engaged in. And we're happy to answer any questions that you have about any of these partnerships, any of the resources we mentioned. There's a chat feature you can send your messages over to. So please do on that. I saw we got a message about whether LifeSelf is recognized by HOSA. LifeSelf is a member of America's Blood Centers, and so you can recognize them as part of this partnership. So if you're looking to reach out, you can go to our website and find their contact information through our donor locator finder. Make it easy to contact them, post blood drives, and then you can input that on our tracker at americasblood.org/HOSA. And thank you for dropping in the chat the articles you mentioned before about the impact of digital health education, if anyone needs that as well. So how can we help? How can we answer any questions about our partnerships, any of the resources we mentioned? We definitely want to be a resource and get everybody communicating. Kevin, do you want to chat a little bit about how you've worked with HOSA students specifically in the past, whether it's bringing them together? You mentioned it a little bit in your section, but are there other ways that you've worked with HOSA students just to get people thinking how they too can work with their local blood center?
Yeah, absolutely. The best way is to make sure we want to give back. And I want to say that very loud and emphatically. We want to be able to partner with you guys. When y'all are having your regional or state competitions, we love to be there. And so making sure that that group of people at the blood center get on that seat. And I would also challenge you to ask your blood center to not just work with the recruiter that you work with, but we've gotten out where our marketing team, our HR team, our business office loves to come out and participate in those and come and be judges for the various contests. So make sure that they're on those lists. And then as you're looking for people to come out and be guest speakers, not just for hosting a blood drive and talking to you about how to host a blood drive, but using all these resources that Jeff and Rita have shared, call us up. We're here to make those connections and make those things happen. So the contests are fun. Leadership events in the fall are always fun. Hosting blood drives is always a blast, and we're happy to show up in those events as well.
Yeah, and I'll talk a little bit about what we did at the ILC session that Kevin spoke about that really, I think, engaged students and got really great reviews. And so we basically broke the students into small groups of, let's say, 10, 8 to 10. We had them all pull up the same, really two virtual scenarios within, let's say, 40 minutes. And then we timed them to see which group of students could solve accurately the virtual scenario the quickest. And I'll say it was a lot more engaging, I think, for the students than just hearing about facts and figures on a PowerPoint. And I know it got them thinking about all the different medical information that they hear all the time in different ways through HOSA. It really brought everything together. And we built these virtual scenarios to have two different levels. And so if you're new to some of this information and you want to really get some guidance throughout the session to help move the process along and educate from the beginning, we have that sort of beginner level for people. And then if you're a HOSA student rock star and you're very familiar with all these ins and outs and you really want to put your medical knowledge to the test, there's the ability to use the advanced level that takes the training wheels off and really puts you in a room with a patient, with a doctor, and asks you to treat this patient from the beginning. Blood transfusion will play a key role in treating the patient, of course, but you have the ability to run tests, to speak to a patient, to get more information as if you're, a doctor in the room. And for us, I think the students at the ILC walked away with a real deep understanding of how blood transfusions save lives, how medical interventions happening as soon as possible are so key. And again, it brought together all the different medical things that they learn in a whole host of ways through HOSA. And so I think it was a great opportunity. I would just encourage you all to take a look at those virtual scenarios. We got a question about pricing of this subscription. I'm going to let Rita speak to that point, but I will say if you were a HOSA chapter or state association and you brought in an ABC community blood center to work with you on this, there wouldn't be a charge for you because our members are able to work with you directly. And as ABC members, they get free access for 5 years to these scenarios. And so if you work with us, you're free to get those 12 scenarios at no cost. And these are scenarios that are specifically about blood donation. And so they're that much more exclusive as well, sort of a separate category of the work that Body Interact does. But Rita, I'll let you fill in any gaps.
Yes, it's basically what you mentioned regarding the ABC program that we have built, the scenarios that we have, and they are based on difficulty levels. And the same will go for Body Interact subscription outside these blood donation focused clinical scenarios. So we have around 500 scenarios just for the high school area, and we have 40 different subscriptions. It goes from a light to a premium one, and the price of course depends on the number of scenarios that you get. On the first light one we are talking about the 3-month subscription, and the premium one is a 1-year subscription that you get 150 scenarios, if I'm not telling a wrong number, and of course the number of accounts that you have available for all your students community and for all the teachers that are aligned in your high school. But I'm free to give you a tailored solution for your school. If you wish to send me an email, I can just drop it on the chat box and I can send it to you so you can have tailored solution for your school according to the programs that you're looking for, if it goes just for one campus or not. It goes from this. I'll drop my email on the chat.
Daniel, I see your hand up. If you're able to unmute, you can ask a question or you can drop it in the chat. Yeah, if you can't unmute, go ahead and drop your question in the chat. Happy to answer it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Excellent, thanks. So my question is, for these scenarios, are they all through standardized patient?
Sorry, Danielle, can you repeat because my sound was a bit low. Oh, sorry, you just got lost. I think
When you say, yeah, believe you said, is it all for standardized patients? Can you chat a little bit more about what you mean?
Yeah, so I know with like med schools and different healthcare programs, they have standardized patients for these scenarios. I wanted to ask if that's the same situation with these scenarios.
So all the scenarios are virtual patients, basically. So it's a digital tool and you get access through of the computer or web version or the table you just saw. Of course, if you want the table, you need to buy one.
Okay.
But it's all of them are virtual. What I can share with you is some schools do this, and some of the schools who have trainers or other standardized patients or even other mannequins. I don't know. I know this depends on the program and the school you are.
Right.
What they do is what we call the concept of integration. So basically, imagine you are doing a virtual scenario with your students. You are projecting on the wall so that you are all discussing the same scenario, and that at a moment of time they say, okay, so we want to do this intervention, and what you can do is pause the simulation, you go back to the task trainer and say, okay, so now let's train how we do, like for example, take bloods for analysis or something. This is something that they do, but our scenarios and the one that we work with ABC, they are totally virtual.
Okay. And how does the feedback look for, I guess, for every scenario or after the scenario?
So after the scenario, you have this feedback area. So, and this is divided in three reports areas. So basically, you have one which is like global score. So you have a section for diagnosis, physical examination, which is mostly based on ABCD approach, and for example, if you need to give medication, what medication it was supposed to give. In case you do an incorrect action, a first priority, you lose some of the percentage, 1 or 2 points, depends on the action that you are doing. After this, you have the timeline report. So in the timeline report, you can review the step-by-step of all the actions that the students did,
Okay.
and also see the impact of those actions in the vital signs of the patient. So you can run this discussion. Lastly, you have the list of the competencies that your students work on, and you can see kind of a positive reinforcement. So basically, you are seeing what they are actually doing correctly. What we have at Bot Interact is this learning management system, which is a BI Studio. And at the BI Studio, you can see all of these reports. And for example, prepare the next class. So imagine they do group discussions, and then you go there, compare the results, see all of these, who answered correctly the diagnosis, who misunderstand the diagnosis, what actions they were doing the most. You get this Excel file performance that you can compare. So you have all of this data available to you, so you can prepare the discussion or even prepare the next classroom, because you saw, okay, so they are not asking enough questions to our patient. They are not saying, hi, I'm Rita, and I'll be your nurse today. So these are things that you can prepare based on our learning management system.
Awesome. Thank you, Rita. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
I'll say too, in creating these virtual patients, I mean, we really started with, what are the types of situations that require blood transfusions, the medical realities, and then we really worked from the ground up about how do we, when you start a scenario, you're given an overview, and then you're literally put in a room with a patient and a doctor, and you're able to use different medical interventions and use different tests to figure out, what does a patient need, what type of blood, how much blood, things like that. And it was developed with our medical directors at our various blood centers, teams from our blood centers and Body Interact, and we did show it to different students as well to get that feedback. We used it for the first time in a big way at the ILC, and like I said, we couldn't be more excited. And so we hope that you all have a similar experience, and it gets you thinking about, if you have space at a state association meeting and you have a session, please do reach out to your local community blood center and ask them to host a session using these scenarios. They're going to love to do it and take you up on that offer. Another thing that you can do as well as we look to state association meetings, judges, we know that state associations need judges, just as the ILC needs judges every year. We flag for ABC members to reach out to state association leaders, but if you're on this call and you're a HOSA leader, please do also reach out to blood centers and ask for judges. We've had many judge at ILCs and things like that for a couple of years now. I think we did 3 years of judging. at the ILC. They would love to judge at state association events. Many already attend these events. If they're recognizing students, as I said earlier, for hosting blood drives in their community, judging is another way they would love to give back as well. And I'll flag too, I would love to see a blood drive at every state association meeting that HOSA has. If you're concerned about things like liability and space and things like that, our blood centers do this every day. They're able to walk you through these concerns, answer your questions. It's going to be very easy for them to pull up a bus, for example, if there's no space, no room in your hotel or wherever it's being held, pull up that mobile drive and host a blood drive. That's a great way to get students engaged. We host a blood drive every year at the ILC. No matter where it is in the country, we loop in our local community blood center. They bring in a bus, they bring in teams to work with donors, the snacks, the whole thing. And it's we see really great feedback from students, from just attendees at the ILC. I know we would get great feedback as well at a state association event hosting blood drives. And so if you're thinking about that, if you're looking for ways to bring new opportunities to students, please think about working with your community blood center. You can call them now, get on the calendar. They love early notifications. So don't feel like you need to wait until a week or two before your event. Now is the time to reach out. Just get on their calendar, have them walk through best practices. They'll show you how easy it is to host drives. They'll walk through whatever your space requirements are, whatever you're dealing with at your ILC. They'd love to help you figure that out. Love to figure out a way to use these scenarios at your events. Likewise, if you're a teacher and you have a HOSA chapter at your school, they would love to come in to these school meetings as well. Do this exact same thing, right? Make these scenarios work for students in a classroom setting. We can even go into, science classes, even if they're looking to welcome outside voices to help highlight the work that they're doing in the classroom. Our blood centers do that every single day. And we can give you a leave behind document so you can give your educator information about Body Interact, about these virtual scenarios. So if the students really like them, it's easy for educators to get them in the classroom as well.
Jeff, if I may, I just received a question. So they asked me if they they have an advanced biology class tomorrow, if they will be able to use the Body Interact with a group of students. I would say yes. I think I would need to know. I would say yes to just give you one or two scenarios because I'm not aware of what are the content you are using back in a biology advanced level. But if you wish to, just send me an email and I can see one or two scenarios and give you one account for you to run kind of a test. For sure, you will see the excitement of your students. It is a very user-friendly platform. That's the feedback we get. So if I'm not able to drive kind of a demo the way we usually do with our users and clients, so we do these training sessions, demo sessions, so that everyone is aware. Don't worry, you can just send me an email, tell me a little bit more about the topics that you wish to address, or if I can just share one of our blood donation scenarios that you can use, and you run this test, and after the test we can further discuss what we can do together with Body Interact and ABC.
I'll note as well, if you're an educator on the call, Rita is happy to walk you through in the Body Interact team. You do get a 30-day trial of Body Interact if you're an educator and you want to learn more. So the Body Interact team can walk you through that. Rita has her email listed here in the chat. I'll drop mine in right now if you have any further questions as well. But please do take Body Interact up on their offer. If you're an ABC member, a blood center, and you want to have your whole team walked through how to use these scenarios, that's available to you as well. Again, all that stuff is free to have them walk through these scenarios with you because we believe so strongly in them and in the ability to help educate students. We want to get them out there as widely as possible. And so, like I said, if you're an educator, 30 days to use these in the classroom, and then Rita and the team can walk you through any options for subscriptions and and things like that. But again, with National Blood Donor Month right around the corner, this is a natural time to start working with your blood center, start utilizing these scenarios in different ways. The great thing about them is, we have one great idea with the ILC about, competitions and breaking students up and sort of doing a race against the clock. I'm sure there's endless opportunities to think about ways to engage students with these scenarios. And so you're able to talk through with them, with your community blood center, how best to utilize them for you. Kevin, did you have any last, I know we have a couple minutes, but anything we missed, anything you want to encourage folks on the call to know?
No, I've had a couple direct messages to try to respond to everybody, but I've had a couple eligibility questions, and I will just say that there are some basic eligibility questions that are universal across the country. There are some that are specific by state. So check in with your local blood centers and see what their eligibility guidelines. They're usually very readily accessible on the homepage of their website. So definitely start there. And then I've had some questions about collaborations with your blood center. Guys, I can only speak to what we do here in Texas, but I will tell y'all, and working in the industry, and Jeff, you feel free to chime in. ABC members are always looking for better ways to engage these students, these schools. Y'all give so much to the blood supply and the patients that we get to serve. We want to do everything we can to give back to y'all, and maybe they just don't know about the contests. So we try to talk about it at our group meetings, but please extend that invitation.
Thanks, Kevin. And when it comes to eligibility, we did just release a really nice myth fact document that dispels some common myths around blood donation. I think there's a couple that come up all the time, and the end of the day, the reality is, I think many more people are eligible than they may assume. And so we put together a document that's really battling those myth facts. There's a lot of things in there. It's a free document, links to a PDF. You can utilize it, has everything from information with social media graphics that you can utilize if you're, a HOSA chapter or an association, you're looking to just highlight who can donate blood. You can utilize that social media. Feel free to add any logos to them. There's an email in there if you're hosting a blood drive and you just want to dispel some top myths that we see. So people are more likely to stop by a blood drive and give. That information, that draft email is in there for you. There's a poster, there's a PDF document, really all kinds of things. And I'll note as well, we have information. We have this whole section of resources on our website. I'll drop in the chat that you can use to promote blood donation. And I'll say, if you're looking for local customizable graphics, your blood center is going to have the best stuff for you based on your community. They regularly are able to send you, different recognition events in your community, different facts about blood donation in your area. So we're happy to provide sort of the big picture takeaways on some of this stuff, but you'll get some really great information on a regular basis from your local community blood center as well. And again, they can give you all kinds of information or come in and talk students through some of this information as well, because eligibility changes from time to time. And so you might have people who weren't eligible 1 or 2 years ago who now can give. And so we definitely want to get that across. Any other questions? I know we have about 5 minutes left. If not, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I do want to encourage you to reach out to any of the three of us if you have any questions about blood donation scenarios, working with HOSA, questions about any of the partnerships. We're here to help. As Kevin said very well, partnerships are not a one-way street for us. We are looking to help you all as well, as we ask you to help us from as well. We want to be great partners with you. That's a two-way street. And so please email us. We're happy to brainstorm. We're happy to fill in any gaps, get you working together as close as we can with all the different great teams. I do see a question here. As a student, can they contact their teacher in a blood center to see if they could host a blood drive? Am I even able to help host one as a student? That's a great question. That's what this HOSA partnership is all about. getting students to host blood drives in their school, because from time to time we get people that say, you know what, if you got a celebrity to endorse blood donate, all your problems would be solved. All the research shows that the best way to get people in the door is to hear from someone in their community about the importance of donating blood, how it saved their lives, their life of a loved one. So you're your best advocate in your own community to get people in the door. And so if you're a student and you want to host a blood drive, if you go to americasblood.org, I'll drop the direct finder information in there for you. But you can type in your zip code or your actual street address into the finder, and it will pull up your local community blood center, and you can contact them, let them know you're a HOSA student and you're looking to host a blood drive. The other thing that you can do is go through your chapter and state association leaders. They also have direct contact information for the actual person at these blood centers who work with HOSA directly. So either way you go, whether you use the finder or you reach out through your HOSA contacts, you'll get connected to a community blood center. They would love for you to host a drive at your school. The great thing is that if you're an extrovert, there's ways you can be involved in hosting a blood drive. If you're an introvert, we still need you out there helping pull together a blood drive. It's an all hands on deck thing where students can really get together, find their strengths, bring them to the table, and work with our blood center to host drives and get donors and teachers and your fellow students in the door. It's very easy to host a drive. Our blood centers bring all the medical information and everything down to the snacks. So you let them know a day and time when you want to host a drive, and they'll give you everything you need. Any other last minute questions? The great thing too, if you're a student hosting a blood drive, we do have 2 recognition-based categories. They're nominations based. So you can be nominated by ABC, your blood center, or any HOSA leader. So if you're a student and you knock it out of the park in promoting your blood drive, they have an opportunity to recognize you, especially at the ILC, as well as if you host a blood drive at a time of critical need, which basically is any time a school is not in session. So if it's winter break, if it's a summer vacation, those are times when the demand is great because we don't have school-based drives happening all over the country. And so it gives students an opportunity to go in their community, whether you're at your church, whether you're at a fire station, whether you're at a community town hall, wherever you are, our blood centers can work with you to get out in the community to host drives as well. Daniel. I think he needs to be unmuted.
Who is it that needs unmuted? There you go.
Daniel.
So on that note about school, I know like with the American Red Cross, they have to be a certain age. What's the age for ABC?
Kevin, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, that's probably one of the more specific state questions. I'll tell you here in Texas, 16 with parent consent, 17 and older do not require parent consent.
Okay.
There are certain areas that it is 17. So it just depends on your state.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I would say sometimes we've seen students as young as like 15, 16, even if they're not able to donate blood, they still want to help. And so there's still an opportunity to get them, working a blood drive, just familiarize them with the process. So when they're old enough to give blood, they're not scared, right, about seeing people donate blood. They know the process. They've been involved in hosting drives. I know HOSA does incredible work in middle schools even. So if there's any interest with students who maybe aren't able to give, there's still a bunch of ways they can help work and volunteer at drives just to get them engaged and familiarized with blood donation. All right, with that, I think we're coming up on time. So thanks everybody for joining us. Please do reach out with any questions, and we look forward to working with all of you. And hopefully we will shatter the record this year as we did last year and have more students donate blood. Daniel, do I see a question? One more time, Daniel. You're good? Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Feel free to email me with any questions and Body Interact to get to use these virtual scenarios. Thanks, everybody.
And thank you to Rita, Jeff, and Kevin for being here and being great partners to HOSA. We're big fans of ABC and Body Interact.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.